Very warm welcome and thanks for joining us. I'm Holly Shields, live from Kalkine Studios in Sydney, and you're watching the early trades. The S&P ASX 200 was down 0.5% this morning as investors kept an eye on news for a potential move by Russia to occupy Ukraine's capital. The worst performing sectors are financials down 0.7% and tech down as well 0.5%. Consumer staples, meanwhile, is up 0.2%, with Coles adding 1.5% after its interim profit report this morning. And Cochlear as well is up 4% after hiking its interim dividend and maintaining its full-year profit guidance. And even higher is Costa Group, up 8.7%, and Hub24 up 7% after handing in earnings ahead of expectations. Then bond yields are lower as investors seek out safety in bonds. And worldwide, global stocks have fallen, government bonds have rallied, and currencies and commodities have whipsawed after Russia sent troops into the Ukraine, triggering an immediate backlash from Western nations that is set to include harsh economic sanctions. The Euro Stoxx 50 benchmark of European blue chips fell 2.2%, while the US S&P 500 benchmark shed 0.7% to close at its second lowest level since the year began, reflecting investor worries about the lasting impacts of Russian military action. And then moving on to the newsmakers for the day on the ASX, automobile parts supplier ARB Corp has lifted its interim dividend 34.5% to 39 cents on earnings of 84.5 cents a share, with sales revenue up 26.5% for the 6 months to December 31. The company's Australian aftermarket sales grew 53.1%, with exports up 38.4%, and at the period's end, cash stood at $58.3 million. ARB shares as well are 15.4% higher over the past year and 190% higher over the past 5 years. And meanwhile, mining royalties business Deterra has nearly doubled its net profit to $61.7 million on royalty revenues of $92.8 million for the half year to December 31. Deterra will pay an interim dividend of 11.68 cents on earnings of the same amount per share at a payout ratio of 100%. Its EBITDA of $88.7 million equaled an EBITDA margin of 96%, and the group attributed the result to strong mining royalties from BHP's MAC iron ore mining operations over the period. And then in other news, Unity Group's first half revenue increased at 98.4%, so almost 100 there, and underlying pre-tax profit hit $58.4 million, up 137% in a period of record earnings of $70.5 million. Net profits, meanwhile, surged to $29.3 million on a statutory basis, utilising carried forward tax losses, resulting in no tax expense for the half. Unity's earnings, meanwhile, based on the EBITDA AU, increased to 64% of revenue. Then free cash flow was 56% of EBITDA AU, or $39.5 million, up 97%. All this as no dividend was declared. And then in other news, COVID-19 related costs have weighed on Virtus Health during the first half of the year. The company's revenue rose 1%, while EBITDA dropped 35.7% and profit slid 49.5%. Employee costs, meanwhile, increased $2.8 million, while gross margin was impacted by $2 million from a higher number of COVID-19 cycles and higher PPE costs for staff and patients. Virtus declared an interim dividend of 12 cents a share, consistent with a year ago. And then meanwhile, internet connectivity business Superloop has narrowed its first half 2022 net loss to $21.3 million. That is versus $18.9 million in the prior half-year period, while revenue for the period climbed as well 142.9%. According to the company, underlying EBITDA for the period finished at $9.1 million as opposed to $8.2 million in the prior period. Well, that is a wrap on the early trades for now, but stay tuned for more only on Kalkine TV. This is Holly Shields signing off.